Ladies and gentlemen, every man and woman who has ever achieved greatness has understood one eternal truthing concentration of effort is the mother of success. Today, I will speak to you about how to focus for 12 hours straight, not as a mere task, but as an act of mastery over self. Before you can even think about focusing for 12 hours, you must begin with a definite purpose. Nothing in this world happens without a clear, specific reason for being. A man who sits down to work without knowing exactly what he intends to accomplish is already defeated before the first hour begins. He becomes like a ship without a compass, tossed by every wave of distraction and every passing breeze of desire. Ask yourself this question: why am I doing this? What is the one thing that, if I accomplish today, will make all the difference? Do not settle for vague answers. I want to be productive is not enough. Productivity without direction is mere business, a treadmill that exhausts but never advances. Instead, define your purpose so precisely that it burns like a single flame in your mind. Let it be measurable, tangible, and powerful enough to stir your emotions. Close your eyes for a moment and see it completed. Picture the reward, the sense of triumph, the doors it will open for you. The clearer you can see the outcome, the stronger your mind will cling to the task. This clarity is your anchor when fatigue sets in and the hours grow long. It becomes the voice that says, "Stay with it. This matters." Purpose is not a luxury. It is your fuel. Without it, 12 hours will feel like an eternity of struggle. With it, 12 hours becomes a march toward victory. Begin every long day of labor by fixing your mind on the summit you intend to reach. If your purpose is strong enough, focus will cease to be a burden. It will become a burning desire that pulls you forward with irresistible force. If you expect your mind to remain sharp and unwavering for 12 hours, you must place it in an environment that demands and commands concentration. Understand this truthing: the human mind is a creature of its surroundings. It absorbs the energy of the space it inhabits. When the environment is cluttered, noisy, and chaotic, the mind becomes restless, distracted, and divided. But when the environment is clean, quiet, and purpose-driven, the mind falls naturally into a state of focus. You cannot rely on willpower alone to defeat distraction. Willpower is like a candle in the wind. It flickers and dies if the sword is strong enough. The surest way to protect your focus is to build walls around it, walls made not of stone, but of deliberate choices. Remove everything from your space that whispers for your attention. Silence the notifications. Turn off the devices that do not serve your goal. Shut out the voices of the world for these sacred hours. Let the room in which you work speak only one messaging: this is a place of creation. Every object in your environment carries a silent influence. A phone vibrating on your desk, a screen glowing in your peripheral vision, a stack of papers that belong to another task. All these are enemies disguised as harmless details. Eliminate them. Put away what is not essential. Keep only what serves the mission before you. When your eyes see nothing but the work, your mind will think of nothing but the work. This is more than tidiness. It is a psychological strategy. A clean, focused space sends a signal to your subconscious: we are here for one reason. And nothing else matters until it is done. And that signal becomes stronger every hour you protect it. The greatest achievers do not stumble into concentration by accident. They design it, they engineer it, they enforce it. So before you attempt 12 hours of deep focus, make sure the ground is prepared. Let your environment be a fortress that shields you from distraction and a temple that honors the work ahead. When your space commands concentration, your mind obeys without resistance. The human mind was never designed to operate at full power for 12 hours without relief. Just as the mind, when body tires from constant strain, the mind begins to dull when driven without pause. The mistake most people make is to attempt the entire stretch as one endless marathon. They push themselves in a single, unbroken effort, and then wonder why their concentration collapses halfway through the day. True mastery of long hours lies not in relentless exertion, but in controlled rhythm, alternating between deep, focused work and deliberate recovery. Imagine climbing a mountain. You do not sprint to the summit without stopping. You move in calculated strides, resting at intervals to gather strength for the next ascent. So it must be with your focus. Break your 12 hours into powerful blocks of concentrated effort, blocks that last long enough to penetrate deeply into your work, yet not so long that fatigue dulls the edge of your mind. 90 minutes is the ideal length for most, long enough to achieve flow, short enough to prevent burnout. At the end of each block, grant yourself a brief, purposeful rest. Do not mistake this for idleness. This is not an invitation to drift into distractions, to scroll through meaningless feeds, or drown your mind in trivial noise. Your rest must serve the same purpose as a warrior sharpening his blading, recovery for the battle ahead. Stand, stretch, breathe deeply, hydrate, and allow your mind to clear. 5 to 15 minutes is all it takes to return with renewed strength. This simple discipline, the division of time into power blocks, does more than preserve your energy. It creates urgency. When you know you have only 90 minutes to deliver your best, you work with intensity and intention. Procrastination dies in the presence of a ticking clock. Each block becomes a mission, and each mission accomplished builds momentum for the next. Approach your 12 hours not as a monotonous grind, but as a series of victories. Conquer one block, then another and another, until the day has been transformed into a chain of purposeful triumphs. This is how 12 hours of work becomes not only possible, but profoundly productive. Your mind is the master instrument of your success, but it cannot perform at its peak if the body that houses it is weak, sluggish, or neglected. Too many ambitious people fail, not because they lack willpower, but because they starve their bodies of the very fuel required for sustained mental strength. 12 hours of unwavering focus is not a casual endeavor. It is a test of endurance, both physical and mental. To pass this test, you must feed the body and mind with precision, not accident. Start with hydration. A dehydrated brain is a dull brain. Water is the lifeblood of clarity and concentration. Do not wait until thirst demands attention. Sip consistently throughout the day. Then turn to nourishment. Forget that the temporary energy that comes from sugar and stimulants, they will lift you for a moment only to cast you down in a valley of fatigue. You do not need spikes of energy. You need stability. Choose foods that sustain, not sabotage lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats. These are the silent allies that keep your energy, even in your mind, sharp for hour after hour. But feeding the body is only half the equation. You must guard the diet of your mind with equal vigilance. What enters your mind during these hours is just as critical as what enters your stomach. Every meaningless scroll, every piece of gossip, every distraction you entertain is mental junk food, poisoning your clarity. For 12 hours, protect your mind as you would protect a sacred temple. Let no thought, no image, no sound enter that does not serve your purpose. This is not about luxury. It is about performance. An athlete preparing for a championship does not eat recklessly. He trains his diet with discipline because he knows the body must support the goal. In the same way, when you set out to accomplish 12 hours of concentrated effort, you must become an athlete of the mind. Every choice you make, what you eat, what you drink, what you allow yourself to think, must strengthen your mission, not weaken it. Feed the body, nourish the mind, and you create the foundation for greatness. Neglect them, and even the strongest willpower will crumble before the day is done. Precision in these small matters is what enables power in the great ones. There will come a moment, perhaps in the 7th hour, perhaps in the 10th, when fatigue will creep in like a thief in the night. Your energy will falter. Your concentration will begin to waver. Every fiber of your being will whisper that it is easier to stop than to continue. It is in this moment that the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is revealed. For most people surrender when that voice speaks. They yield to the temptation of comfort. But those who conquer themselves in this battle summon the power of a single thought. That thought must be sharp as a blade, burning with conviction, undeniable in its truth. It might be this: if I stop now, I betray the very reason I began. Or perhaps this hour, right here, you will decide who I become. Whatever words you choose, let them be words that strike deep into your soul. One single thought, held with fierce intensity, can silence 1,000 excuses. When doubt arises, when the body complains, when distractions grow louder, repeat that thought until it becomes the only sound in your mind. Let it swell until every nerve, every muscle, every breath obeys its command. Greatness has always belonged to those who could hold a single idea with unwavering faith until the work was done. The man who gives up at the first sign of difficulty has never truly wanted victory. But the man who clings to his purpose with the grip of iron, who holds fast to one burning thought when the storm of fatigue rages, he becomes unstoppable. This is the power of mental dominance. When you master your thoughts, you master your hours. And when you master your hours, you master your destiny. Never underestimate the strength of one dominant idea, fiercely held. It is the torch that lights the darkest moments of the day. It is the voice that says, "Stand up, keep going, finish what you started." When you command that thought, you command yourself. And a man who commands himself is a man who cannot be defeated. My friends, focus for 12 hours is not about working like a machine. It is about living like a creator, bending time to your will. Those who scatter their efforts will always serve those who concentrate them. Choose which one you shall be. Thank you.